What's crazy to me about the changes that Wargaming announced on Tuesday when it comes to Blitz Reforged is that almost all the changes they've announced are just things that we already have in Blitz, which is kind of crazy when they're calling them features, right? So if we take a look, they have set navigation improvements. They say we're making several modifications to the UI, including several ways that will make it look and function more like old tech trees. So in other words, you should have just left tech trees. Carousel functionality. We understand that familiarity and ease of navigation are key when browsing tanks. That's why we are working on mirroring the existing Blitz experience as closely as possible. Why didn't we just do this to begin with? Why did we need to reinvent the wheel? I said it in one of my previous videos. You tried to reinvent the wheel and turned it into a freaking square. Like, it just doesn't work. Why do we need to change something that is already good? Well, my assumption to when it comes to steel and when it comes to keys is two things. First of all, you guys are creating more currency so you can further dilute rewards in events and crate drops. Gee, now not only do you get credits in crate drops, but you also get steel, a currency which is utterly useless apart from spending it on consumables. That's kind of my assumption there. I fully expect steel to be added into crate drop chances, diluting down the actual rewards that players will want. And not only that, when it comes to keys, you guys are literally just putting a pay to progress wall behind something that was previously free. That's as simple as it is. It's monetization at its finest. Yes, you can say, oh, but you can grind these lines for free. But at the end of the day, I don't understand why you're now forcing players to have to grind hours upon hours upon hours to then get the ability to unlock what was previously a tech tree to then start grinding more on that tech tree once you've unlocked the ability to grind it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's stupid. Keys should not be in the game. Nobody wants keys in the game. Nobody. Remove them. And when it comes to steel, nobody wants steel. I said it in the past. If you guys want to make the excuse that, oh, steel is a way for players to now use consumables because 90% of the players don't use consumables, then just make players forced to use them. You force players to have a specific amount of ammo loaded before they can, go into a battle. So why don't we force players to have 3 consumables on their tank every game? It's not that hard to do. Lower the price of consumables if you think they cost too much. Those are your two solutions. You don't need to make an entire new currency. Once again, I fully believe steel was added into the game to dilute crate drop chances and just make it more complicated. I don't really know why else you would do it. I don't know what to say there. There are so many ways around it that could have been done. But with that being said, let me talk about my proposed changes. And what I'll do is I will make a poll on my channel in about 2 or 3 days from now. And well, actually, I'll have the poll on my channel, after the video. And you guys can vote on my proposed changes for the game. And we'll see how many people like them and how many people don't like them. And I know Thane has seen my other poll, so it would be very nice if he saw this poll as well, and then he can kind of see what the Blitz community wants. As I've said in the past, I'm a player who puts hard work, sweat, and tears into this game. The reason why I get so emotional when I do live streams and why I am so dedicated to this game is not only because it's kind of my life, but it's also because I really care about this game. I've literally put over 20,000 hours into Blitz. I have over 110,000 battles on all of my accounts. And this game means a lot to me. And to see something that I love get absolutely destroyed in front of me, especially when I know what the community wants, being so close with the community and posting and being the voice, it's very heartbreaking to really see the changes, right? So that's exactly what I should say. So with that being said, let's talk about the changes that I want in the game, that a lot of you probably want in the game. First of all, matchmaking changes. Get rid of this stupid skill-based matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking is terrible. No skilled player wants to get punished for learning how to play the game. Skill-based matchmaking is basically saying, hey, you're not good at the game? Well, here. Now you get to get a bunch of free easy matches and get carried by a 60%er, but that 60%er now has to be watered down by bad players and his win rate's going to lower. So we're going to raise the win rate of bad players and we're going to lower the win rate of skilled players. Why are we punishing people for being skilled? Ratings exist for a reason. If you want to feel competitive, you go to ratings. If you want to have a chill, casual experience, you play pubs. Every single game is like this. You can do the same thing in League of Legends. You can do the same thing in Fortnite or whatever it is, right? There's ranked and then there's normals, just like Rocket League. And it's not fair that skilled players get punished because of unskilled players' unwillingness to learn how to play the game. I don't have a problem with any of you in the comments. Listen, if you're 40% win rate, I have no problem with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I should not be punished because you don't want to learn how to get better. Skill-based matchmaking essentially makes it so that I'm being taxed on my skill. That doesn't make sense. Instead, what we need are two things: tank-based matchmaking and even matchmaking. What do I mean by that? Well, the problem, as we know in Blitz, is that matchmaking right now sucks. I have played many games where I will be in a medium tank, and the enemy team will get two medium tanks. So I'll be in one tier 10 medium versus two tier 10 mediums. What am I supposed to do to counter that? The answer is cry about it. I don't know what else to say. I've played many games where I've been outclassed. Sometimes I'll be up against a platoon of mediums, and there's nothing I can do to counter that apart from go to heavy side. Why am I being punished because of the poor matchmaking? It should be one team has one medium, the other team has one medium. If one team has two mediums, the other team should have two mediums. Same thing for tank destroyers. If one team has one tank destroyer, the other team should have one. Every single class of tank should have the same class of tank on the enemy team with the same number of vehicles. This is not something that should even be talked about. It should already be in the game. The second thing is that there needs to be tank-based matchmaking. What do I mean by that? Well, it's very obvious. A Grill 15 is not the same as a T110 E3. The E3 is literally a frontline heavy, just with a little bit less health and the designation of a tank destroyer. Same for the Minnow. In fact, I'd say the Minnow is more of a frontline heavy than most heavies. Because of that, if you're in a Grill or a 183 or a 4005, the impact you are making in the game is much less than that of a Minnow, of a Grill, or not a Grill, of a E3 or a Badger. Because of that, you will have many one-sided games because one team will have passive tank destroyers and the other team will have super aggressive frontline tank destroyers. It's so obvious when you're going to lose when you just look at a lineup. And those two things need to be fixed. We need tank-based matchmaking. A 50B is not the same tank as a mouse, and you should not be matching a 50B and an E6 against a mouse and an E100, but it's happened many times. So that's the first thing. I would love to see fixing in the matchmaking. Instead of skill-based matchmaking, just make it so that the matches are more even, the matches are more fun. It would make the game a lot more enjoyable for a lot of players. The second thing that I would love to see added into the game is map-based matchmaking. World of Tanks PC allows you to get rid of maps you do not like. And I think Blitz should do the same thing. Instead of making it so that you have map rotations, just make it so that players can select 3 maps that they don't want to play on depending on what tank it is. Each tank they have, they can choose which maps, which up to maybe 3 or 2 maps that they don't want to play on in that tank. A great example is the Waffenträger Alpha 100. If you get Middleburg or Mines in the Waffenträger Alpha 100, it is borderline unplayable. I dare any dev to play the Waffenträger Alpha 100 in a pub match on Mines or Middleburg and do something. Do anything. I dare you. You won't. You won't. If you're on Mines and you get the bad spawn on Mines where you got that little bunker spot, guess what? You will be spotted from spawn every single time the enemy pokes. You will be killed immediately. What are you supposed to do to counter that? Nothing. Terrible, terrible design. And because of that, it screws you because you're fully dependent on what map you get. It's the same thing for a super heavy. There are certain maps like Castilla where if you're in an E100, what do? You're screwed. There's literally nothing you can do. And you can't hit me with the skill issue thing. I am ranked at number 5 every given month in terms of win rate and average damage on the NA server. So it's not like I don't understand how to play the game. It's that the devs don't understand how to balance the maps properly. I have talked about why Castilla is one of the worst maps in the game, why one side is flat better than the other. These are all things that I would love to see fixed. I would love to see maps be more even. I would love to see dedicated heavy and medium flanks on the games so that you would no longer have to worry about, getting screwed because you're in a slower tank and your whole team goes to one side of the map. These are all things that I would love to see brought into the game. And they wouldn't be that hard to fix. Like, if I could go into a VC with the dev and point out just how flawed some of the maps are, how bad some of the map design is, it would make a lot of sense. But point being, I would love for the ability to get rid of certain maps that I don't want to play in when I'm driving an E100. If I'm in a super heavy, I don't want to play on Molenbeek. It's too large. If I'm in a super heavy, I don't want to play on Castilla. So I might choose those 2 maps to get rid of. If I'm in a hull down tank, maybe I want to fight on Mines, but I don't want to fight on, a map that sucks for hull down. The point being, there are many ways that you could allow players to have a little bit more choice in how they play their game, and it wouldn't hurt anybody. You know, that would not hurt anybody. All it would do would be help people. And that would be a very welcome change. So those would be the changes I would make towards the matchmaking, right? I would make it so that players can exclude up to 2 maps that they don't like. And I would also make it so that they can have better matchmaking in general. When it comes to the graphics and the physics of the game, honestly, I think that Unreal Engine 5's graphics, if properly optimized, would be great. I have no problems there. I think Unreal 5 is not a bad move if, again, done properly. Now, personally, I think the World of Tanks PC engine is just flat better, and if you guys could have turned that into a mobile working game, it's great, but I don't know how the technical limitations work there. But point being, I don't have a problem with Unreal Engine. I don't have a problem with the physics, although I do think that the way the physics are now are terrible. For example, if you jump on a tank, you take almost no damage. I've literally watched a mouse jump on a light tank, and it's like 400 damage taken. Like, what? That doesn't make sense. So the physics need to be better. But I am happy with the graphics. I am happy with the overall way Unreal Engine is going to be working in the future. That is something that I definitely would like to see improved upon, but a welcomed change if you ask me. Then we move over to Commanders. I've been saying this for a while, even before Commanders were a solution that Wargaming wanted to put into the game. I don't want Commanders. I do want Commanders in the idea that they give you more diversity and the ability to make your tank more unique than somebody else's. But there's a better way to implement Commanders, and it's called Equipment 2.0. That's as simple as it is. Make equipment like it is on World of Tanks PC instead of adding Commanders. I get it. Commanders are your way of doing that. You probably said, hey, how can we make it so players have more diversity in their tank loadouts? But there's 2 problems with Commanders. First of all, unlike equipment, you are basically putting them behind a, hey, if you miss this event, you can't have this commander. And the other problem with Commanders is that they are specific to what tank you are driving. Why not just make it so you have equipment just like PC, where you can run gun rammer, you can run vents on certain tanks, you can run V-stabs, you can run aiming device, you can run turbo. These are all things that I'm pretty sure the players would much rather have than your Commanders. The ability to choose on each and every tank that they drive. Cool customization that makes their tank unique to somebody else's. On World of Tanks PC, if I'm driving an E100, I can run improved hardening to increase my hit points. Then I can run V-stabs and a turbo. And what this will do is make my tank more accurate on move, increasing its top speed, and giving it more hit points for a frontline aggressive build. But somebody else could instead do gun rammer, and then something like aiming device, and vents, giving them the most effective damage per minute while also making their gun more accurate. These are 2 incredibly different builds. Why can't we have something like that in Blitz? That would be so incredibly fun and unique. And while Commanders are kind of a solution to this, at the end of the day, the problem with Commanders is that they can be heavily monetized and they are not available for every tank. And not only that, but you won't have the ability to get certain Commanders if you don't play every single event, every single time, and spend every single cent on the game. That is not something I agree with. Once again, seems like Wargaming is choosing the we can monetize this route more than the freedom to the players. That's what I'll say. I would much rather have Equipment 2.0 than having Commanders. And I think every single person watching today's video would agree with that. I think that's fairly basic and not something that I should even have to really say. But like, these are changes that we really do want as the player base, and I do think would make the game more enjoyable. Another great example would be something like field modifications. Again, World of Tanks PC has something called field modifications, and the way it works is that you can spend the elite XP that you have on your tier 10s to further upgrade them in unique ways. You can give them a little bit more view range, you can give them a little bit more mobility, a little bit more hit points, and it's all unique to how you want, because there's like 10 different options that you can choose from. These are all things that I'd really like. I'm going to be honest, the excuse of, oh, the crew skills are too complicated, or, oh, the crew skills are, too challenging to grind. On my free-to-play account, which has 3,000 games, I'm already level 5 on 80% of my crew skills, and I'm level 7 on the other 20%. Level 5 is already enough that it makes you quite confident in the game. You have to remember that there's Noob MM, and Noob MM gives you 5,500 games to learn how to play Blitz. If you can't figure out how to play Blitz in about 500 hours of game time, which is what 5,500 games is equivalent to, then I don't think the crew skills were going to help you that much. I really hate to break it, right? And wargaming, if you wanted people to actually understand crew skills better, then maybe you should have put a proper tutorial in the game. I've never seen a single video on your channel which is talking about crew skills or anything of that matter. What crew skills are more important than others, why they are this, why they are that. None of that happens. I would be more than happy to make videos that you guys could share on how crew skills work and everything else, but these are all things which would be power to the player, but instead we're just removing them altogether instead of choosing the easy route, which is giving the player base more information. I don't know what to say. Like, that's the problem here. It's the same thing for tanks, right? There are so many ways that you could help the player base get better at this game. And a great example of that would be tutorials. I've said this many times in the past, but the easiest way for wargaming to not only increase the amount of players that are more engaged in the game and more engaged in getting better, but also just a better environment in general is called tank tutorials, right? I have a tutorial on every single tank in the game. Does not matter what tank it is. If you want to see a tutorial on it, all you need to do is search up Droodles, then the tank name. You will find a review on it. Unless it's like some removed tier 6, which doesn't even matter at that point. But any tank that has been added into the game or has existed in the game over the past 6 years, I have a review on, and you have the ability to watch. That's really as simple as it is. Why can't we make a tutorial system where, let's say, you research a new tank. It's a tier 8, I don't know, how about the Progetto 55, right? Let's say you research that tank. And when you get it, a little pop-up appears in your garage and it says, hey, do you want to learn how to play this vehicle? Watch this 5-minute video for 100 gold. And then in that 5-minute video, it's me or some other content creator showcasing how to play the vehicle with Ace Tanker gameplay. It shows the armor, it shows the gameplay, and everything else. That's as simple as it is. And that would allow players to be much better versed in the game. Once again, these are changes that I would like to see come to Blitz. The final changes that I would like to see come to Blitz is an in-game armor highlighting app. There are websites like Blitz Kits and Blitz Hanger that allow you, and Armor Inspector, that allow you to see tank armor, that allow you to see where the modules of tanks are, where the weak points of tanks are. These are all great. Why do they not exist in-game? Why is there not a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day statistics tracker? Why is there not a W8 stat in-game? Why do we not have a session tracker in-game? These are all things that the player base would love to have. All the players would love to have. Even players that aren't very skilled would love to have it, because then they could track their sessions. They could see what they're improving on, what they're doing worse on. Instead, a lot of the unskilled players don't know about these websites. They don't know about the API and how it works, so they don't ever learn about it, and they don't ever focus on getting better. If you had the ability to look at a tank's armor, if you grabbed what, Blitzkit does, I can exit this page right now. I can go here. I can type in Blitzkit, right? If we go to Blitzkit and we look at the mouse, for example, right here, I can take a look at the armor. I can see what the armor looks like with calibrated shells. I can see what it looks like with APCR. You can see what the most effective way to angle the vehicle is. Why do we not have this in Blitz? Why is this not something that in the garage, you can click a little armor icon for each tank you have in your garage, and it will show something like this? Why does this not exist? This is something that I would much, much rather have than a lot of the proposed changes for Blitz Reforged. Like, these are all things which I would love to have in Blitz. And we don't. Why do we not have a session tracker in Blitz? Why do we need a mod, Blitz Insider? Why do I need to install mods every time you update the game, which won't even be available when the new version of Blitz comes out? Why do I need to do this? Why can't we just have these already in the game? Why do we not give the players more features? Instead, what we've done with Reforged is we've taken away features. So, as I said, things that I would do into the game: tank-based matchmaking and even matchmaking. I would add more information in the game for players to learn and understand more about what they are doing. I would have session trackers. I would have armor. I would have all of these things. I would obviously have the better physics. I would have the better things there, and I would have Crew 2.0. If I think these 5 or so changes were added into the game, it would be the best world ever for Blitz. Now, there's obviously other things I can nitpick, balance changes, and other problems, but I seriously do think that the things I've just listed here today would have been the best Reforged ever. And instead, we have 2 years of random changes that we don't want. Like, I get it. Monetize the game. But do you not make enough money already with Blitz as it is? Like, seriously, do you not make enough money? You just released a Waffenträger Alpha E100, which literally made you guys probably millions of dollars. Every single year, you have the Blitz Fair, you have auctions, you have the freaking 116F3 available on the Thanksgiving event for a ridiculous amount of money. It cost me $300 to get the 116F3. It cost me $300 to get a freaking Lech Panzer 70, a tier 9 light, which most people don't even know what the heck it is. Like, do you guys really not think you monetize the game enough? Do we need to add more elements of monetization in the game? Do we really need to do that? I don't know. I really don't know what to say. At what point am I playing a game, and at what point am I playing something that is just trying to take my money? And that's the problem, right? Instead of playing Blitz and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars each week on getting new tanks and crates and things so I can get a 0.05% drop chance for an AE Phase 1, I can play Helldivers and spend $10 and get an entire new war bond, not have to worry about crates, have more fun playing the game. And, oh yeah, I have a Helldivers channel, by the way, so hopefully that game takes off. I'm just saying, Wargaming, at this point, I have two other channels. I have a GTA channel, and I have a Helldivers channel. And ideally a World of Tanks PC channel, as long as I get a press account. And point being, at some point, if my GTA channel, especially if GTA 6 comes out in the future, does really well, if my Helldivers channel, which I've already gotten monetized, starts doing really well, Blitz will be on the back burner for me. And you will sorely miss the fact that I'm no longer posting reviews and I'm no longer posting content on this game. But if Blitz continues down the direction that it's going, I will be very disappointed. And it's just like there's many other games which I can play and grind everything for free. In GTA, I can grind any single item I want for free. Any single item in Helldivers I want, I can grind for free. And then Blitz, it's just impossible. And like, I get it. Earning money's great and all, but why do we need to monetize the game so heavily? Like, it's just, I don't know. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll have a poll up later this week. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.